Hi, I am Khrystyna Klimash, and you're on the channel Building Digital Product, where we speak about the technologies that can boost your business here and now. And our today guest is Justin Rowe. He began as a restaurant owner before discovering the opportunities of LinkedIn. This led him to launch his own venture focused on LinkedIn marketing. Justin rapidly expanded his client base in many countries, and his successful business was eventually acquired. Today, he is the CMO at Impactable, where he continues to excel as one of the world's best experts in LinkedIn marketing and advertising. Hi, Justin. On our channel, we primarily talk about building digital products. After the product is developed, our clients need to launch marketing campaigns to attract clients and partners. Based on your experience, what criteria they should consider when choosing marketing and advertising channels to reach out to their customers and boost their businesses?
For me, probably the two biggest things to consider would be where do your current prospects or clients hang out online? So really considering where do they go to do their research? Where do they go to look for information or referrals? Where do they spend their time educating themselves? So I would, and that's probably a question, that not everyone has answered. So one of the things, if you don't already know the answer to that question, which a lot of people won't, I would say, test different channels and try to see, where the data leads you. Maybe do small experiments spread out across different channels. And then the second thing that I would say is kind of understand what your current marketing ecosystem looks like and where you possibly need to spend some attention. For example, if you have a ton of top of the funnel website traffic already, you've already invested in SEO, you already have paid search, but you want to maybe squeeze, more conversions out of your ecosystem, then I would look at middle of the funnel channels like LinkedIn retargeting, I think is great. Retargeting across Meta and programmatic, or even email and LinkedIn outreach to warm prospects that are already in your pipeline. So kind of those two things are the main things I would kind of look at and consider.
Speaking about the startups, we have been working with them like for over 10 years. And many owners of new ventures are concerned about how much they should invest to popularize a product. And sometimes it's difficult to predict, I think, from the very beginning, the exact price. So I wanted to ask you, could you please share insights of the budget planning and organizing efficient advertising campaigns?
Yeah, that's a good question that a lot of people do seem to have is, okay, I believe in marketing. I believe we need to let people know more about us, but how much, what channels and how much to invest in. To me, marketing should be considered an ongoing effort where you continue to learn, attract, grow, and it might make sense to tie it to maybe your overall marketing budget to a percentage of your revenue. And this was something that I first came through the restaurant industry and became a restaurant franchise owner. And restaurants are usually terrible at marketing. And so it was more of for a lot of the franchise owners, it was more of okay, marketing is definitely something you should be investing in. You're learning what channels, but you should kind of make a commitment, maybe tie it to a percentage of revenue. It could be, 5% at first. It could be 8%. A lot of brands seem to spend around 10% of their overall revenue on marketing. So that might be a good baseline. And then once you have kind of the budget or maybe your commitment, and it should be something that's sustainable. I guess that's another thing to consider. Don't consider a marketing budget where it's like, okay, I have X amount of dollars to market for 3 months. And then, we really need to see some big returns or we got to stop. It should be something that you can afford to sustain long-term as a marketing budget and kind of make the commitment to get data, learn, continue to improve and to scale from there. So yeah, that's kind of a tricky one. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, and I think that like channels are always changing, and also like sometimes you can see like the new channels that can work, and you are always need to learn how to use it to your business.
Yeah, true.
So my next question is more about advertising. Um, Most people tend to ignore it, and how company make sure their ads stand out and actually work.
Uh, Good point. A lot of people do see a lot of advertisements, so I think it's easy to maybe for them to just kind of gloss over or not pay attention. For me, I really do believe that the demand generation kind of movement has a lot of good things about it. And one of the things I like about that is the type of content that you use, that you amplify with paid ads. It should be, ideally to me, it should be something that people actually don't hate to consume. In fact, it should have more of a purpose other than just clubbing them over the head with sales pitch. I really enjoy advertising content or campaigns that educate or show subject matter expertise. So, kind of like, a how to series on improving marketing efficiency with a tool or a service or a channel, really showing how it's used, examples of other companies that are using it successfully, things to look out for and avoid. So that kind of content that's educational but also positions your company as kind of an expert in that space. I think that goes a long way because, yeah, it's things that people don't actually mind consuming. It's benefiting them, and then it positions you in the right light that if and when they do have a need and need a solution, you become kind of that go-to person without, yeah, just putting a bunch of ads out there that get ignored or that annoy them even worse.
Yeah, totally. And when you were telling it, I understood that we have in Ukraine like same with with donations. When someone is raising like a big amount of money, they even make a video content to have like more views to raise more money to our soldiers. Yeah, so it's so interesting and inspiring how they can be creative just to receive like lots of the funds and make a good thing to our society. Yeah. And my next question is what are the top types of advertising on LinkedIn that you will believe that will perform the best in 2024? Maybe you will share with us some, I don't know, secrets and insights that we will use in our company also.
Gotcha. So for me, the top kinds of LinkedIn ads that are probably going to be most successful in 2024, I do believe that LinkedIn thought leader ads are going to be a tool that more and more organizations use. And basically, it's one of the newer formats where you can post from an organic personal LinkedIn profile, and then you can amplify it and use the targeting and ad spend of the paid ad account to push that organic post to your target ICP. So to me, that's really especially powerful because it doesn't look like an advertising. So when you're scrolling your LinkedIn feed, like you just said, a lot of times when you see a company page post that looks very promotional, you just kind of keep scrolling. But if it's an actual CMO, CEO, VP of operations posting about, the subject matter that they are most passionate about, that their company helps solve, a lot of times, that catches your eye. It looks more natural. And then if that content is educational, is beneficial to you, helps you maybe view the problem or see why this particular solution might make sense, it can be a great way to educate your prospects and build trust with and also humanize your brand through these thought leader ads. And you have the ability now, you can do image and text, or you can also do video thought leader ads. So I can post videos from my personal profile and then amplify it with a paid ad spend. So I think number one, that's probably one of the biggest new formats. And then the second thing that I think We've been pushing this for a couple of years now, but I see it taking off more and more. The idea that LinkedIn retargeting, I think, is a superpower for this reason. So all of the other channels, if you do retargeting on Meta or Facebook, if you do retargeting on programmatic display, basically you're retargeting all of your website visitors. And if you're a mature company with a lot of website traffic, that's very diluted. It's a lot of hodgepodge of traffic. You don't necessarily want to retarget all of that. LinkedIn is one of the few, if only, platform where you can actually qualify all that traffic. So I can say the LinkedIn Insight tag picks up on all the website traffic, and then I can say, okay, I want to retarget my 90-day website visitors, but only if they're from companies of this size, 50 and plus, these geographies that I serve, these 5 industries that we do best with, and they have to be seniority level director and above. So a decision maker at a budget with company from an industry that we serve. That really is a superpower, because a lot of people invest in SEO and paid search. They invest heavily, and it's very competitive, very transactional. So if you're able to qualify that traffic and stay in front of it for the next 2 or 3 months and convert more of that traffic, you actually get more ROI out of your SEO, out of your organic efforts, out of your paid search. And so that LinkedIn ads kind of tip of using it to qualify and retarget all of your website traffic can really help boost the efficiency of your marketing ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that I also, when I am scrolling the LinkedIn feed, I'm also pay more attention to the, I don't know, brands of people that I trust. For example, yes, some CMOs from companies, and I can read their post, and when it's, I don't know, like a company advertising, I can ignore it, and I don't pay a lot of the attention to it. Yeah.
Same here.
And also, like my next question about the LinkedIn. Which types of content on LinkedIn generate more engagement and interest in the services of digital startups from the LinkedIn audience?
I believe that video is still underused on LinkedIn, and the brands that do put out video content are seeing a really big advantage. And the reason, I think, is it is underused on that platform, which means that you're going to have pretty favorable cost per clicks and cost per impression. But I think more importantly, what I've discovered with video is that, and kind of why I leaned into it early on and invested in a little studio here, is that it's a chance to really like humanize your brand, and it can tell way more than like an image or a text. Like if someone watches a 3-minute video where I explain how to solve a problem that people pay us thousands of dollars to solve for them, that's way more powerful and easier to consume, and also kind of showing the people inside our organization. It makes them feel like they know us a little more, that they're more comfortable. I feel like it's easier to build trust through video. So I would say video is one of the best formats for LinkedIn right now. I would also say, as a second, I'm really big on follower ads, text ads, and spotlight ads. So they're a very overlooked ad format. They don't get a ton of clicks. They don't have the best click-through rate, so people tend to write them off. But in my experience, they make amazing retargeting ads for very inexpensive cost. You can get a very high impression share. You can almost ensure that your logo shows up on your prospect screen almost every time they log into LinkedIn if you're using it for retargeting. And that's a very inexpensive, high touch way to kind of stay in front of people long term, that won't cost you an arm and a leg. So LinkedIn video, and then those lighter touches, text, spotlight, and follower ads, I think are great ad formats to really look at.
And what are the most common mistakes that companies make when running ad campaigns on LinkedIn?
Probably the biggest one is the settings. There's a couple of really common mistakes. The first is Every platform is a little different. So not knowing the settings can be a mistake that costs you a lot of money. So the main ones would be LinkedIn Audience Network. It's kind of like Google Display Network, where it basically says that LinkedIn can show your ads outside of the platform on trusted third-party sites. The main problem is these third-party sites are not super high quality, and LinkedIn pushes too much of your budget out there. So it would be fine if like 10% of your budget went to that. But if you select that option, typically 90% of your budget will get pushed off of LinkedIn onto those third-party low-quality sites, and it makes for a lot of wasted ad spend. The next one is audience expansion. And I get the reason that most people do this is they're more familiar with paid search on Google and then Meta, and then they come to LinkedIn and they think that the algorithm on LinkedIn is kind of as maybe mature as Meta, but it's really not. So I would not trust audience expansion, where it is allowed to kind of expand beyond the targeting criteria you set and kind of make its own lookalike audience. I wouldn't use expansion. I wouldn't use lookalike audiences or the predictive audience yet. So turning off those settings and not mixing up the and or logic. So if you're saying they have to be from one of these 5 industries and they have to be a company size, 50 to 200, and they have to be seniority level director and above, I've seen so many companies accidentally put or, and it so it's either these industries or a director level and above, or they're from this company size, and it makes the audience massive, and so it's not what they wanted. And then I guess the final mistake that I see that's really common is just the mindset. Up until the point where people try LinkedIn, usually their experience is paid search, and then Facebook ads, and then maybe email marketing. They're very transactional marketing up until they get to LinkedIn. And so they've launched LinkedIn and they go nothing but lead gen forms, and they think of it as a transactional channel. But to me, LinkedIn is much more like almost like SEO, where it's this more momentum building long-term play where you can get in front of really qualified people early on in their journey. It's going to have a longer sales cycle, but the deals are going to be bigger. The trust that you can grow, I think, is more substantial, and you can get a bigger ROI out of it later on, but only if you approach it with that mindset versus, just thinking it's going to be this very transactional, quick hit approach.
Yeah, I think that if you wanted to run a campaign on LinkedIn, you need to understand that it could be like a marathon, not a short distance to run, and you need to be ready for this long term journey to get the benefits from it. Yeah.
Sounds a good way to look at it.
And the last question from this section is more about cool cases, not the mistakes that someone is making. So can you tell us about a cool case of growing a digital product using advertising?
I think one was, and I won't say the company, but we had a pretty big company who was kind of pre-IPO, and they were really trying to leverage LinkedIn to ramp up, and they were spending a lot of money, but they weren't getting a ton of they were getting a ton of leads, but then they weren't getting a ton of actual meetings and revenue produced from LinkedIn. So it was frustrating to them. And one of the things that we really helped do was switching from the idea that LinkedIn is this cold transactional lead generation machine to, kind of what I was saying, that it's this, I call LinkedIn more of a middle of the funnel hero, meaning that if you have already a lot of traffic inside your website, a decent pipeline, I would not just focus on cold LinkedIn campaigns that are lead gen forms. Because for me, the idea that if you put if your first campaign that you launch is just a lead gen form, they never make it to your website, but then they leave their information. To me, that's usually a weak lead that sales might not enjoy following up with, because they don't necessarily know that much about you. They might not have made it to your website yet. There's not a lot of trust built up. So one of the things I really like to do is build more in the retargeting layer. So the first thing we did was we took probably 3 or 4 of their cold campaigns and then just moved it to, okay, they at least have to have been to our website or the company page first and before they get this lead gen form. So that simple move of just saying, hey, let's put this in front of a warm audience instead of a cold audience, that dramatically improved the quality of those leads. The people that filled out that form got their asset. They also had been to their website and knew kind of who you are and what they did. So they were much more receptive when sales was trying to email them, or, you know, when they were trying to get pushed to the next step. And then the other really big thing that we did for them that I think is great for a lot of people is most B2B products or services, especially if you're talking about high priced items, the main reason they don't buy isn't just because of timing. You can't just retarget them for 90 days and you know, and they're just going to convert because you're staying top of mind, or you can't just keep your logo in front of them and have commercial advertising. One of the main reasons they don't buy right away is they're evaluating. They don't know you, they don't trust you yet, they don't view you as the experts in your space yet. So I typically spend almost all my time and energy in the retargeting layer focusing on that. What kind of content, assets, resources do I have that could move the needle on trust and credibility, and help them trust us more? And so it's usually things like case studies, expert advice, even interviews like this. Instead of you saying, hey, I'm the expert, trust me. If you can show that you've been invited as a guest on podcasts or speaking engagements, that third-party validation can be great content to run in that layer.
I think that we are doing the same in our company, because we have like a YouTube channel, and we decided, you know, to build a channel to show our expertise. We are having also like one face video where we're talking about like digital products, building digital products, and yeah, I agree with you that it can increase the trust of the audience, of our audience who are viewing it, and also it's important to understand to be your client, to understand what your clients want, thinks, and understand what materials might be beneficial for him. And sometimes everyone just thinking about their product, their company, and always forget about their clients, because just trying to improve their businesses, improve their products, and sometimes just they need to understand more what clients want. So it could be like a problem.
Yeah. Way too many people are doing marketing just based on what they want the other person to do. I want them to fill this out, then I want them to visit this landing page, then I want them to book a call with me.
Yeah.
And they create these little strict funnels that don't necessarily align with how people want to learn, want to educate themselves, want to evaluate the options. And yeah, so that's definitely something I see.
Yeah, sure. And also I wanted to ask you like a flash questions. I will give you 2 options, and you need just to pick the one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
No, but yes, we'll go.
Okay. Restaurants or marketing?
Marketing for sure.
Working with a team or alone?
I'm kind of. I mean, if I could, I guess I probably would prefer to be alone, but it seems really hard to accomplish anything big on your own. But yeah, my inclination is more of a.
Agree. Starting a venture or scaling it?
I think the scaling it, I probably would have always say started a venture, because I feel like I get bored quickly and starting something is really exciting. But I'm starting to really see the appeal of scaling something. It's definitely way more challenging, but yeah, I would say scaling.
And the last one, working at night or daytime?
I actually enjoy working in the evening. I do get a lot of work done in the morning, and then the afternoons I'm less productive, and then I come back in the evening, and I'll get some really good deep work done. Mostly because at that point in time, there's usually not any incoming like client emails or team messages. It's whatever's on your plate is still there, and you can knock it out in probably a lot more concentrated, deep focus. So probably evening for me.
Thank you. Thank you for your for your answers, and thank you for coming to our interview. It was really interesting to speak with you, and I think that we had an interesting conversation that our audience will like.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Hit the like and subscribe button to not skip the following episodes. Bye!